Moldavia is in Sweden.
No, I'm just saying that's the only thing you do, and that's what happens, you know, you say, and, then, then at least you say, well, that's probably about as safe as you can get.
We just have to get over the
Alright.
Well,
Oh, it's not locked. It shouldn't be locked. Here. Are you speaking Swedish?
yeah, sorry.
No, it's okay. Is English popular in Sweden?
English?
Yeah, they learn both. We're the only country that learns one language.
You don't have another language?
Well, we study a little bit, in school, but this is not.
Somewhere,
Hi, Chester.
Know your speakers.
Not Spanish? I mean,
Yeah, but not to where you really use it as a language. In America, most people really speak one language. And then you kind of, I can say, hey, ¿cómo estás? Y tú, little tiny bits of Spanish. Hi. Hi. What?
Tell us about the
Okay. Is it rolling? Oh, it is? The Visiting Kids. Visiting Kids is a band that I started with 3 little girls, Scarlett, Autumn, myself, and one who's missing. And we have 4 band members. Mona Lea is our keyboard player. And we have played as large as the Pacific Amphitheater in front of 3,000 people, or for the opening of a kids' store.
Late show.
We've been on the Late Show, and we've done our own video. We're now on a compilation of 18 women artists from Los Angeles, and we're going to be coming out with a record that'll be in France. Mark has produced our music, Mark Mothersbaugh, and that's the Visiting Kids.
Want to do it again? Do a shorter version.
And maybe look at
Uh-huh.
Buffalo.
Oh. You want the whole thing again short?
Yeah, shorter.
Okay. Visiting Kids is a band that I started that is the 3 little girls, Autumn, Scarlett, and Alex, who's missing, and myself, and we're backed by 4 musicians. Here's Mona Lea, our keyboard player, and Mark Mothersbaugh of Devo, who produces our music.
Is that enough?
Right. What would you like to know?
How long have you play rock music?
Yeah, sort of tot rock.
Tot rock.
Hot rock.
Mm-hmm. We've been together for 6 years. And, we have songs like Who Stole My Barbie Doll Away From Me, or Good Clean Fun, or Microwave Babies.
Do you think it's fun to play?
Yeah.
Yeah. Play loud?
They're always turning us to turn down. Right?
Yeah, I try to ask the band to turn down. It's hard, they don't always listen.
Tell us about Saturday night.
Well, when we were doing rehearsal, we were rehearsing, and the band was playing, and playing real loud. And Nancy told them to turn it down. My ears started ringing. And Saturday night, when we were playing, my ears also was hurting too.
Do you ever use earplugs in your ears?
You should.
Yeah, now since I've talked to Kathy, bought some earplugs and have some, so now I just have to get in the habit of bringing them all the time for them.
Yeah, you should.
Do you worry about their ears when they're playing, like at gigs?
Yeah, everybody's. I worry about everyone's. I think that the sound is loud for anyone. I mean, when I Scarlett and I went to see Prince together, and she felt actually physically ill from the sound being, we were very close, we were in the third row, from the sound being so loud, and afterwards my ears were ringing for so long. And, I worry about everyone's ears in rock, because it just seems like that it's pushing the limits that we can have.
Yeah. I've been wearing ear filters for 10 years, so I don't have ringing ears. I roll bottle. So.
Well, I first started playing in a rock and roll band, playing music with rock and roll bands in, a long time ago, like 66, 65. And I remember we thought it was really cool to be really, really loud as you could possibly be, and we'd put our heads right up against our amps when we played too. We thought that was really cool. And then our ears would ring that night, and we'd go to bed with ringing ears, and we knew it was because of the music, and at the time I didn't worry about it and didn't think about it. And now, Devo, when we go on tour, I'll be on stage, and monitors are cranked up, and after the show, your ears ring all the time, and it's something that I wish I was warned about when I was younger, because now it's something that I'm always nervous about. It goes away after I don't play for a while, but I hear stories about people that their ears ring constantly, and that's kind of a scary thought, it makes you wonder if you even want to play on, in a live music situation or play somewhere where it's really noisy, if you think that, that it could be a permanent damage.
Yeah, there is no warnings on any kind of situation of buying a stereo or going to a concert of where which you would be losing your hearing, or the possibility. You have warnings of, at least when people buy cigarettes, they know that they have the possibility. And I just think that there isn't a great awareness towards that yet, that people, are so used to hearing loud music and they don't realize that they possibly could lose their hearing.
I think there should be warnings.
Yes.
Well, what should they say?
At such and such, at certain frequencies, at a certain point, whatever point that is, you have the possibility of, going deaf, losing hearing.
They should sell earplugs the way they sell condoms in the bathrooms, 50 cents a shot. Something like that. At rock and roll shows. They should sell earplugs the way they sell condoms in the bathrooms, 50 cents a shot or whatever it might be.
Tampax.
Yeah, Tampax. And have ear filters there as well, ear plugs, I should say, as well, for people who go to rock and roll shows. They should have that in the rock and roll venues. That'd be great.
Or I even think it should be the responsibility of the bands, if they really are at a frequency that is harmful to people, that they should just give them out to those that want them. So that there is an awareness that...
Because you see people putting napkins in their ears all the time.
Yeah, I had 2 4-year-olds at the Devo sound check over for Christmas Eve, 2 of our nieces, and it was so loud, and I realized that they were 4 years old, so I went in the bathroom and got toilet paper and stuffed them in their ears. And
just a lot of people don't even realize, that there is a problem, and, it's like the same with, cigarettes or other things. It's like once people know that they could hurt themselves, then they have a chance to make a decision on it. But like myself, like I'm saying, it's like it wasn't really widely, known information, and, I know a lot of people that have hearing problems, because of, the way they experienced music through the 70s or the 80s. And just hopefully, people will get it, with things like what you're doing here, people just may get enough information and become concerned enough that they might do themselves a favor.
Now, certain governments are talking about putting limits on the town levels of rock concerts. What do you think of that?
Well, I don't think that's a bad thing necessarily. I mean, it's easy to empathize with both sides though, because I understand that, even as a guitar player, you understand that there's certain things you can do with a guitar at a loud level that you can at a lower level, but, there has to be some way to deal with it. It's, you can't just say, well, people are going to get cancer from cigarettes, so, it's like too bad. There has to be some way to deal with it, either with earplugs, which is sounds like a pretty good thing anyhow. That seems like that would, obviously Mona Lea, it makes a difference with her, and, it seems like that would help. There's, at a certain point, there should be limits on sound level, because, You've been to enough shows. I've been to enough shows to know when PAs are just overkill in a certain hall.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what the maximum levels people blast at, but I know even my band plays very loud, louder than you really need to hear the band.
And Visiting Kids plays too loud.
Yeah, I have a problem where I even ask sound people that's doing our sound in a club that we do not need to play that loud. That's not part of our image, or it's not our need. And then when I talk to people out in the audience, it was just as loud as the band before, even when I request that I don't want it that loud. So it's...
That's because they're deaf too.
Yeah, it's a whole... I think awareness is one of the biggest things, to start entering that into people's minds, and then that they have the choice. Because, if they're not aware, then they don't, they just blindly keep doing the same thing, but at least that they know that they could be harming themselves and others, and then they have to make the choice.
It's kind of a shame, because also when you're young, people tend to feel they're invulnerable.
Mm-hmm.
And, that's the way it was with me. I got a ringing in my ears, but it went away, so,
Right.
it was no big deal. But
Yeah, when you're young, you just don't think anything is ever going to happen to you. I can remember having aluminum foil to get suntan, and then later on in life you find out that you could actually get cancer of the
yeah.
skin, but when you're young, my parents even said that to me, and I'm like, no, I won't. It's, like Mark said, he liked the ringing, that feeling of the loud music.
But I don't think people are necessarily inherently stupid. I think if they have the right information, if people are given the right information and given a choice, I think, they at least they have the opportunity to take care of themselves. The worst thing would be to find out. The worst thing would be to find out later that you'd done something that couldn't be reversed.
Mm.
Yes, after a couple
you can
rings.
get it if you want in the kitchen, Kathy.
If you think it could be.
It'd have to be fast, though.
Yeah.
There was more snow in Chicago.
You went to Chicago?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was very cold in Chicago lately.
Flew over Greenland too. That was really crazy. That was just
that way when you
so
come.
nice. I'm not here.
Thanks. She covers her mouth right into me. Mark, you
Yes.
say the last thing.
Oh, I forget where we were now. We were, information is the best policy, just let people know, what can happen. Nobody wants to get AIDS and die, once they, I think people, when they learn about, the dangers of of the world, they tend to, have a survival instinct.
Mm-hmm.
Well, once people realize it's permanent, that's the thing, because people think that the ringing is just going to go away, and usually it does, but it doesn't always. That's the thing that they should be aware of.
Mm-hmm.
Like Kathy.
What about earphones? Does anybody wear Walkmans and earphones at all times?
Have you? Have you worn a Walkman? You do? You wear? Okay. Well, I have never. I don't very often.
Think they're dangerous?
What do you? How's that in your head, Scarlett? Do you wear them loud?
No. Not that well.
Do you think that those are possibly dangerous?
Did you ever turn them up loud while you were wearing them? I mean, accidentally?
No.
No? Oh, then you're lucky.
They're very.
They're pretty powerful.
The visiting
little
kids
things.
are very survival oriented. They're very conscientious. They're very conscientious about people smoking around them, and they're very health oriented, environment oriented. But you have had a lot of headphones on in your life.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Walkmans are pretty insidious little devices because they can go loud enough to melt your eardrums, I think. They're a lot of power in that. You wouldn't think of it either. You look at those tiny little, speakers, tiny little earplugs. And
How do you think Mark's hearing is?
Well, I tend to think that he listens to music when he comes home from the studio extremely loud, louder than, I find enjoyable. And when I question him about it, he just thinks that I think that he's definitely acquired a level where he's used to, he goes to the studio all day long and they listen to the sound extremely loud, and then he comes home and again listens to it loud, and I think over the years it must have affected him in some way. I don't know if he agrees with me.
well, I know that definitely, on days that I'm in the studio and days I'm not, it makes a difference, on my hearing.
Things ever sound different when you're like recording one day, then you go back the next day and listen to it again?
Sure. That's a pretty common thing. I think not even just with us, but just about any engineer or producer that's spent much time in the studio can tell you that, you're pretty worthless for a mix after you've sat in front of speakers for 8 hours or so, 8 or 9 hours, and people sometimes to meet deadlines they'll be working 14 or 16-hour days, and you come back the next, for us we just always know that after we've spent a whole day in the studio that we've that there's no way we can listen objectively to what we're doing anymore. We can't even hear it right, because the speakers have been so loud. You just have to wait till the next morning and listen to it. We always end up doing our mixes the morning after we get something to where we think we have a final mix, and then the next morning come in and then fix it. Always happens like that.
Rebellion. Rebellion is loud. Pardon?
Oh, address Buffalo.
Oh. Oh,
Why do you think rock and roll is so loud?
because it's rebellious, and that's the nature of rebellion, is to be loud and angry in its origin. That's the reason. And plus, it's, I think, an indulgence on the musician's part. And you?
As the musicians go deaf, so go their public.
Yeah.
I
Okay.
think that's fine, though. Happy has one question. And I know about here in the Lambs, like here, hearing education in the Lambs, the Rockers, the organization that Kathy founded.
I have just become aware of it.
I'm the deaf one.
Mhm.
And the dumb
A
one.
good bass player, though.
Kathy became 40% deaf after
I can hear it. I can hear it.
Ready? Everybody quiet. Quiet on the set. Everybody quiet. One. You probably forgot it by now. Do you remember?
Mm-hmm.
1, 2, 3.
Hi,
we're the Visiting Kids.
We're here. And we'd like to remind you to save your ears for rock and roll.
Okay?
No, then wave. We're sweet. Okay, right. We're not a punk group.
Okay. 1, 2, 3.
Hi,
we're the Visiting Kids.
We're here. And we'd like to remind you to save your ears for rock and roll. Yeah.